Hey, it's SG with another story with a point. This story is about how I met my kid's mother. So I went, after I graduated from the United States Military Academy, I went to Germany for my first tour, and I didn't meet anybody that I was remotely interested in marrying. And so I went to the artillery advanced course, went to Ranger School, went out to Fort Ord, California for my next duty assignment, and we were just, I was trying to meet other people, and it was difficult because Monterey, California, is really not the place for young people to meet each other. Kids grow up, and they graduate from high school, they typically go away to go to college, and they come home to visit their family, but they don't come home to meet other singles because all the other singles have moved away. Anyway, so I told all my friends, if you meet somebody, you remotely think that I would like taking out on a date, please get her phone number and her name, and I'll call her up and ask her out. Well, so I mean, the dating thing wasn't really going that well for me, and as I prayed to Heavenly Father for an opportunity to meet, somebody who I could like legitimately date, I got to the point where I thought, if I get to be 30 years old and I haven't met her, I need to get married just to get married. Well, as I turned 29, that did not sound appealing at all. I really just didn't want to get married to get married. I mean, that's the wrong reason to get married. Well, there was a guy at church that I knew, and he had a rather large family. He and I used to surf together a lot. And one day at church, his wife met this young lady, not my wife, and who just kept going on and on about an activity that had happened the night before, and this woman that she met there, none of whom were my wife. So I, but this woman said, "Oh, I know somebody who will take her out." She said, "Oh, great!" And she wrote down her name and her phone number and handed it to my friend's wife, and I mean, nobody ever heard or saw of her again. So I was going about, my business and everything, and I called her up to say, "Hi, you don't know me, but somebody said we might like going out with each other. If you're interested, please let me know." Crickets. So, I mean, I didn't call back like, I'm not a stalker. I didn't call back, like every minute, every 10 minutes for, 3 days in a row. But, I ended up leaving, I would call like once a day, or, no, it wasn't once a day. It was like every couple days. And slowly I would, I finished out the week and I hadn't talked to her. Well, she decided to call me up and say thank you, but no thank you, that she was already dating somebody at the time. Anyway, so she called me up and we talked, and I was able to talk enough that I talked my way into at least a date. Uh, and what we agreed upon is that we would meet in Santa Cruz, where we both drove to the pier, and we would, meet each other that way. So we ended up going on our first date that way, but the interesting point was that, and there's more to this story, is that uh, even though I met her, it was the development of the relationship that was really important. And I forgot my point. You didn't talk, right?
Point is having good friends to help you make connections.
No. There's more than that. Then.
No, because she took her out on a date and you saw her and she drove up.
And she turned around with her blonde hair.
Right.
And
Oh no. Okay. Oh no. I remember. Okay. So, let me just do a pause here and I'll start up again, right? Okay, so as part of the story is me driving up to Santa Cruz. Now, no offense, but a lot of times young ladies don't know how other young ladies look. Oh, she's so cute, and I you could have fooled me. So so I was driving up to I was driving up to Santa Cruz, and I was very, very excited, right? But about halfway there, I realized that I was making a fundamental flaw because I'm a very expressive person. And if she wasn't like perfection, I was going to be disappointed. And that disappointment was going to come across in just my demeanor and the look in my face and everything like that. And it was just going to ruin the date. So I turned off the radio, I rolled down the window, and I started thinking about other things other than meeting this Mike Charlie, young woman. And so as I drove up onto the pier, she looked over her shoulder and she smiled, and I thought, oh, I'm in love, right? And I said, Mike Charlie? And she's like, oh, Sierra Golf? And I'm like, oh, yeah, great. So we started talking and everything. So the point of the story is expectation management is that when you're going to do something, you need to set your expectations properly, because I mean, luckily she turned out to be a very attractive person that I found attractive, and we proceeded on. But I could have easily have ruined the date because I had too high of expectations. As an aside, I finally figured out that global warming is in fact a reality, and the reason I know that is because I've lived with this super hot woman for almost 33 years, and I mean she's just scorching. So I mean that's part of the the point is that sometimes things that you didn't think were true turned out to be true, like my wife now. But the other part is the expectation management. So you know the story, and now you know the point of the story.